Hello, my people. I welcome every one of you to my YouTube channel. It's me, your friend, your sister, Chioma C. I welcome every one of you to my YouTube channel. I appreciate your dedication. I appreciate your patience and the love you show me. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for the shares. Today, I bring to you Tribunal dismissed Peter Obi LP petition on 25% of FCT votes. This our vote is still counting. Now, wow. Presidential candidate election petition. Tribunal has dismissed Peter Obi's petition of winning 25% in FCT to win presidential election. The court ruled that FCT citizens doesn't enjoy special privilege ahead of other states. According to the news, Justice Avuno T, who took over to deliver judgment on the substantive petition filed by Obi and LP, stated this on Wednesday. The FCT, according to Justice Tismane, is not more essential than the other states in the country. Wow. Please, I would like you guys to really listen to the rest of the news. Please, I would really want you to hear it from the horse's mouth, and I really want you to be patient because this video is a bit longer than the other ones I do make. So please be patient and be kind enough to listen attentively to what is going on in our country. Thank you, guys. My people, arguments and counter-arguments by the public, particularly legal experts, about Section 134 1 bracket and 2 of Nigerian 1999 Constitution as amended, which stated that a presidential candidate must obtain or score a majority of votes cast in a presidential election involving two or more candidates and at least 25% in two-thirds of 36 states and Federal Capital Territory (FCT) of Nigeria to meet the constitution requirement to be declared as duly elected as president of Nigeria. My people, a lot has been happening in our country of late and is really getting out of hand. I believe that with the judgment that is being processed and being passed on, at least we are hoping for a positive response. We are hoping for a positive Nigeria. We are hoping for a positive change in our country because the way things are going, nobody is finding it funny and it's not easy on anyone's part. So we are praying that the judgment come out pure, it come out good, and let justice prevail in Nigeria. We don't believe in violence because violence does not pay. Violence cannot give us what we want. It will not pay anybody. Instead, violence brings bloodshed. It brings destruction to the country. But the way Peter Obi has taken up the horn, it is a good way. I believe this is the judgment day. 2023 PEPC Judgment Day. Let justice prevail in Nigeria. Let justice prevail in our country, Nigeria. God have mercy on us. Internal party affair. Tribunal says Tinubu cannot challenge Obi's candidacy. The presidential election petition court has given its verdict on the petition filed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Vice President Kassim Shettima challenging the candidacy of Peter Obi of Labour Party. A lot is happening, oh, my people. A lot and lots are happening. Please, let's listen.
Specify the polling units or places where the irregularities or malpractices occurred. I bereft of material particulars, and such governments are incompetent and liable to be struck. As specifically stated in PDP and INEC, the petitioner who has failed to state such material particulars cannot invoke the provision relating to further particulars as a sword against the respondent in order to cure the incompetence of such government. With respect, it is a misconceived argument on the part of the senior counsel for the petitioners to state that the latter decision of the Apex Court in Ombu Gadu and Sule Supra, which relates to further particulars under paragraph 17.1 of the first schedule, has departed the specific decisions of the Apex Court in Belgore Ahmed, PDP, INEC, Ipiazu and Oti, and several others on the mandatory requirements for stating real facts as provided in paragraph 4.1, first schedule to the Electoral Act. Contrary to the contention of the petitioners, the decision of the Supreme Court in Ombugadu and Sule Supra has merely reiterated the legal position relating to further particulars as provided in paragraph 17 sub 1, first schedule to the Electoral Act 2020. It has not departed from the above specific decisions of the Apex Court on the materiality of specifying in an election petition polling units or places where irregularities and malpractices are alleged to have occurred. Now, a look at the arguments in the petitioner's petition shows that the petitioners have only alleged various irregularities and malpractices, but failed to specify the particular polling units or specific places where the alleged irregularities and malpractices have occurred. For instance, in paragraph 9 of the petition, where the petitioners avert that, and I quote, in appropriate cases, these agents raise complaints about anomalies where they occurred and reported such complaints to designated officers of the second respondent and the first respondent, unquote. The petitioners failed to specify the anomalies, the places where the anomalies occurred, the agents who complained, and the designated officers of the second petitioner and the first respondent to whom the complaints were made. In paragraph 60 and 61 of the petition, where the petitioners allege that the first respondent, and I quote, suppressed the actual scores obtained by the petitioners by deliberately uploading blood from EC8As on the IRF in 18,088 polling units. The petitioners did not specify the polling units, but only stated that they will rely on spreadsheets containing the polling units codes and details of the 18,088 polling units, as well as the authentic results in the said polling units. In paragraph 66 and 67, where the petitioners allege that the first respondent embarked on, and I quote, massive misrepresentation and manipulation by uploading fictitious results in polling units where there were no elections, unquote. They did not specify the polling units where they allege there were no elections. Incorrect results that were uploaded and which are the correct results. Again, in paragraph 68 to 71, where the petitioners allege that the scores obtained by them were, and I quote, unlawfully reduced and added by the first respondent to the scores of the second respondent, unquote. They failed to state their scores that were reduced and added to that of the second respondent by the first respondent, and the figures that shows that the first petitioners won the election. In paragraph 72, 73, 76 to 78, where the petitioners allege overvoting, they merely stated that they will, and I quote, rely on the forensic reports of the election materials showing that the votes cast in the polling units in Ekiti State, Oyo State, Ondo State, Taraba State, Osun State, Kano State, Yobe, and Niger States exceeded the number of votes accredited on the beavers in those states. Petitioners failed to specify the polling units in those states where the overvoting occurred, the number of votes affected, the margin of lead, which they claim that the voters who ought to legitimately vote in those polling units. In paragraph 73 of the petition, petitioners only stated that they will, and I quote, show that in the computation and declaration of the results of the election, based on uploaded results, the votes recorded for the second respondent did not comply with the legitimate process of computation of the result and disfavored the petitioners, unquote. In Rivers, Lagos, Taraba, Benue, Adamawa, Imo, Bauchi, Borno, Kaduna, and Plateau, and other states of the Federation. Petitioners neither specified the uploaded results nor the votes illegally recorded by the second respondents and how they were disfavored. Paragraph 83 of the petition, where the petitioners claim that the first respondents scored the majority of lawful votes cast at the election, they did not state the majority of lawful votes they claim to have scored, especially as elections and the determination of who won is about figures. In paragraph 99 of the petition, where the petitioners say they will rely on from EC8As to establish that substantial votes were unlawfully credited to the second respondent, they failed to state the figures of the unlawful votes credited to the second respondent. In the petition, petitioners merely made generic allegations of various irregularities and malpractices against the respondents without specifying the polling units, collation centers, or specific places where the alleged irregularities and malpractices occurred. Rather, petitioners only stated that they will rely on spreadsheets, inspection reports, and forensic/expert analysis, which they say they have incorporated in the petition by reference. but none of the spreadsheets, inspection report, and forensic/expert analysis was attached and served along with the petition on the respondent. Rather, they were only listed as items 35 and 36 in the list of documents to be relied upon by the petitioners. It is only in paragraph 62 and 64 of the petition where the petitioners allege that the first respondents suppressed the lawful votes of the petitioners and inflated the votes of the second and fourth respondents in Rivers and Benue states. That the petitioners gave figures of the votes where the petitioners gave figures of the votes suppressed for the petitioners and those inflated for the second and fourth respondents. And also stated that they claim to be the actual figures scored, what they claim to be the actual figures scored by them and by the second and fourth respondents. But all other paragraphs of the petition where irregularities and malpractices were alleged are bereft of any material details of the polling units or places where they were alleged to have taken place, or the figures of votes alleged to have been suppressed, inflated, or inflated. It is also pertinent to observe that in paragraph 79 of the petition, where the petitioners allege corrupt practices, they merely stated that they are repeating their pleadings in support of the grounds of non-compliance to be in support of their allegations of corrupt practices. It should be noted, however, that not every ground of non-compliance will amount to corrupt practice. In fact, the standard of proof of non-compliance differs from that of corrupt practices. While standard of proof of non-compliance is on the balance of probabilities, that of corrupt practices is beyond reasonable doubt. The PDP, INEC, Mohamed Wamako, Board of Customs and Excise versus Alaji Ibrahim Barrow, citations on the record. It is instructive that in paragraphs 3.2, 3.21 of their submission, in opposition to the first respondent's objection, petitioners appear to have considered that in the averments of the petition they have not specified the particular polling units where the alleged irregularities and malpractices occurred, or specified the figures of the votes or scores which they are alleged to have been suppressed, deflated, or inflated. Rather, they stated that the details of the polling units are contained in the spreadsheets and forensic analysis reports which they have incorporated and made part of the pleadings by reference. See particularly on this paragraph 67 of the petition. Petitioners further argued that since the respondents have failed to apply for further particulars under paragraph 17(1) and 2 of the first schedule to the Electoral Act, they are deemed to have understood those averments. However, by paragraph 15 of the first schedule to the Electoral Act 2022, when the petitioner claims, and I quote, that he had the highest number of valid votes cast at the election, the party defending the election or the return at the election shall set out clearly in his reply particulars of the votes, if any, which he objects to, and the reasons for his objection against such votes, showing how he intends to prove at the hearing that the petitioner is not entitled to